Global News. Global News Sports.
Jazz and blues.
Welcome back, everyone. Once again, Global News is back to present to you what you need to hear. And today, we're going to discuss, well, there's a lot of smoke going on with conference realignment. Soon as when you thought the dust has settled, nope, the wood and the timber weeds are burning, and you can see the smoke from a mile away. Now, we are now looking at the ACC. The ACC has been pretty much more so on the verge of coming to a halt and being fed up with the current structure of the TV deal. Now, eventually, we all know, after so much pressure, then the pipe breaks. And while there's a lot of steam going on inside of the ACC and the pressure is building up, you can start seeing the splints before the eruption. Now, with this being said, you look at all the way down the line, 14 members. I've always known the ACC to be a basketball conference, not so much football, while they do have about 2 to 3 football brands that add value to the ACC. In this case, we're talking about Clemson, Florida State, and possibly Miami. Other than that, everything else is strictly basketball. As a matter of fact, when they were expanding many years ago, it was due to basketball competition. Now, let this be a lesson for all the conferences out there. You must understand this. While it is good to be a talking point, but we know basketball does not hold weight in college sports as it relates to movement. For an example, if you build your conference off of basketball, and this is no shot to the Big 12, because I believe the Big 12 have done an awesome job. In fact, based off of the cards they were dealt, they're doing pretty well. Excellent, I would say. But if you just build your conference on basketball, it would eventually collapse. Because if you look at how basketball is considered second to football, why would you build your conference on something that is second to number one? So what I do like about what the Big 12 done is they went out and added football programs that make sense. And it's always football first and then basketball second, period. If you follow that model, you can't go wrong. But I will say, when you're looking at the ACC and you know the Big Ten and the SEC are going to have their eyes set on these schools, and they're going to be the first one to try to grab them. And it's almost like, they get the first picks in this thing. But we are reaching maximum load for the Power 3 conferences. One conference is at 18, one is at 16, and then 2 other ones are at 16. Now, on this road to 20, That leaves 2 slots left for the Big Ten, 4 for the Pac-12. 4 for the Big 12, and 4 for the SEC, with the exception of going to 22. But with this being said, the ACC has put themselves in a predicament of unease. They made it clear that 7 members at least would like to try to get out of their grant of rights so that they will not fall behind in competition and money revenue on this level. Now, I would say it wouldn't be before long before the pressure breaks the pipes in the ACC. And the reason for this is because we have members that want to leave, and they are right now, as we speak, finding out ways to get around the grant of rights to get out of their media deal. So with that being said, there may be something that come to an agreement to where they can jump conferences but still keep the grant of rights for ESPN. I'm not sure. Someone mentioned ACC, but if ACC implodes, then obviously that would be another question. But at this point, the ACC have several members who have outspoken about equal revenue sharing. And one of the things is Florida State is the first to leave, will be the first to leave. And then not soon after, Clemson. But it'll be more of like, okay, they're not going to move unless they for sure can see the model needs to be set. They need to see that it can be done. And with that being said, when you look at Clemson and the demand that is placed on Clemson from other conferences, they probably already have spoken to these other conferences on where they're going to land if this thing implodes. So that is being done. Believe it. That is being done. I'm pretty sure Miami has also been speaking to to conferences about where they would go and the rest of the brands that has value. Now, let's discuss what teams or what brands would be willing to go to the Big 12, or the Big 12 would have interest in. And when you go up and down, top and bottom of the ACC, there's about 5 schools that I would see the Big 12 would be adding to add value to their conference. And of course, I'm going to start with this basketball, because it is important not to forget about basketball when you have football. So to have a balance, and to be honest with you, I believe that the Big 12 is the well-balanced conference, more so than the Big 10 and the SEC. The Big 12 is balanced around on both sides. Of course, we know about basketball, and it's time to build up football, but it wouldn't be so bad to continue to dominate in basketball, right? If you have the opportunity to do so. So that first choice, I would see that the Big 12 would have interest in, if they can get them, would be North Carolina. Okay. Now, the Big 10 may want North Carolina as well, but North Carolina would be a great fit because it adds value to the Big 12 in basketball, and it's backed by the Jordan brand. On top of it, they have a large fan base. It's a national brand, and yes, it's known in basketball, and they can improve in football when they get to the Big 12, because as I mentioned, any team that comes to the Big 12, they are going to produce a solid contender to compete for a playoff spot as well as a national championship. So North Carolina would be good. Also, the Wolfpack, North Carolina State, would be another one. So if they can get the Carolinas, those 2 schools would be good. Plus, they would make a good rival with Houston, because, of course, back in the days, they had a basketball rival going on between the two. That would add value there. and create a basketball rival for University of Houston. And that would wrap up the North Carolina market, as well as it's close in proximity to the eastern schools like UCF, Cincinnati, and West Virginia. Now, let's take it a step further and let's look at a couple of schools further south. Now, I would say Georgia Tech would be a great fit for as a football program for the Big 12, because for one, you don't hear too much about Georgia, and while Georgia is the back-to-back defending national championships, Georgia Tech tends to get not so much notoriety. So we would safely say that Georgia Tech would be a good fit in football, and then we'll sum it off with another football brand in Pitt. Pitt would also make a good football program for the Big 12. Now, those four brands, I believe, would make a great fit for the Big 12 moving forward. Now, to throw in a wild card, I would like to also add Louisville. Reason why? Because Louisville, of course, has rivalry with Cincinnati. They are good in basketball and football. In a sense, they haven't made a splash lately in football, but they're well balanced in both programs, and they do add value to the Big 12 in both programs, and it would solidify the Cincinnati, Louisville, West Virginia area. And those five programs I could easily see being targets of the Big 12 to be added if the ACC implode, and in a combination of. Now, remember, they have a room for 4 slots to on the road to 20. Now, that can fluctuate, one staying and maybe add Miami. Let's see if Miami be a good fit. It'll be a good fit for UCF. So, to make a long story short, that it would be a combination of some 4 of those particular schools that the Big 12 would add. Once again, this is my take on the ACC imploding, and realignment kicks off again, and the Big 12 adding 4 new members. Thank you for watching Global News Sports, and don't forget to have a great day.